It was a lovely evening in the month of March. The air was starting to get a little bit warmer. But fuck. I had a moment, and then I stopped to pause for dramatic effect, and I lost all of the the word for improv in my brain. Let's try this again. Gather your friends, gather your family, gather your ghouls as we enter the world into the unique, the strange, the paranormal. Okay, just say the line.
Oh, cue it up.
Dudes with Brews on a Porch presents to you another edition of Strange Brews, Conspiracies, Murder, Ghost Stories, Aliens. They're all coming to get you, my dears.
That didn't go as I had it in my head, and
I looked away. I was looking at my beer, and if you gave me a visual cue, I definitely missed it.
I had something to say, and I failed to do it correctly, but that's okay. It's been a minute since we've done a Strange Brew episode, and we got quite the topic. But before we get to the topic, let us get to the beer. I picked a beer that I feel is aligns well with what we're doing, what we're talking about, because we're talking about paranormal shit, right? So I picked a beer based off a paranormal experience from Copper State Brewing Company in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I am drinking Gary. So listen, my children over 21, and I'll tell you a tale. It was a dark and stormy night when we discovered that our building, an old meat packing plant, is haunted by Gary. Sometimes there are weird noises, Gary. Sometimes glassware flies off the shelf, Gary. Sometimes light flickers in mysterious ways and things move that are not supposed to move, Gary. This beer even brewed itself. Sometimes having a brewery ghost has its perks. Turns out Gary loves dark beer, like this Imperial Stout aged in rum barrels. Enjoy before Gary makes it disappear. It is a rum barrel aged Imperial Stout. It is 11.4 on the ABVs, 0 on the IBUs. One bottle of it is 1 pint and 6 fluid ounces, which makes it a glass that's worthy of sharing with somebody. But everybody else in my house that's old enough to drink does not like this type of stuff. Therefore, it is left to me to consume. And once the bottle is opened, it cannot be sealed again unless you have one of these fancy rubber stoppers that my wife puts in bottles of wine. Now I'm putting it in this bottle of beer, depending on how it tastes, because I still got like half the bottle left. We'll see what it is. So Gary's got a little ghost on it. It's your dark.
Yeah, you sent me the picture of that, and I thought it was from Gary, Indiana, and it was haunted by people's lost dreams.
Probably. When I thought of it, or when I saw this beer, I thought of that instantly. The episode of SpongeBob where he screams, "Gary, you are gonna finish your dessert, and you are going to like it." That's what I thought of. Shall I take a sip while you take us on a ride of what you're drinking, Robert?
I need to find it because
I got it.
I'm wondering if I did this one before. I can't remember, but I don't think so.
Oh.
Because I've got the Highland Park Double IPA, which was gifted to me from Carl, somebody that we've talked about, who works there, and I think
I got the
that this
details.
Did you find it?
Yeah, man. I'm a professional. Come on.
You've got this stuff on lock, man. I mean, I have the other beer, but that was the one that AJ brought. So that was also Highland Park.
Harland Park, I thought, is the name.
Oh, that would be the reason I can't read. All right. I told you I'm very very tired. I'm a little hungover. Closed down the bar last night.
That's all right.
Been drinking gin, man.
Gin and juice.
Gin and tonic.
Well, you're drinking Harland Brewing Company's Double IPA. A crushable West Coast Double IPA coming in at 8% and brewed with Mosaic, Chinook, and New Zealand Cascade hops. That's all that they got. That's all that you need. The can and the artwork is very, very plain Jane, if you will, but probably because it's just so gosh darn tasty, it doesn't need all that mumbo jumbo.
Yeah, these people are about the beer, not about the can, not about the name. The spirit of rolling up your sleeves to get the job done. That's what Harland Park is about.
Hell yeah.
And they are not Highland Park. It's not even Harland Park. It's just Harland. Harland Brewing. Still can't read.
Harland Brewing. San Diego, California.
I'm sweating. I'm so embarrassed by my lack of abilities right now. Really makes me wonder if I researched the right topic at all.
San Diego, California, United States, 92131. Quality brew. Looks good.
It is so it's got your golden hue.
Not hazy.
A little bit more. No, it's not hazy. It's a little more coppery than gold, I guess. But take a sniff of it, I guess.
I'll say with my beer, the Gary, this is a smooth fucking beer, dude. It has got that perfect blend of the stouty stoutness, and it's got a little bit of a tint of the rum with it. It's not overpowering, but it's also not absent. It is a good blend. It is smoother than something that's really, really smooth. I think it's kind of strange when people say it's smoother than a baby's butt. I get it to a degree because baby skin is smooth, but all baby skin is smooth. Why do you have to go directly talking about the butt?
There's a conundrum for the ages, I suppose. When did that start? Who knows?
I don't know. A bunch of weirdos, but it is smooth. It is refreshing. I'm drinking it at room temperature. When I popped the wax dipped top off of it, there was a little bit of cloud above it, which I kind of like. That means like you're drinking this shit at the perfect temperature, my friends. And gosh darn, this is delicious. This is tasty. Well, I enjoy it.
I'm glad one of us brought our A game, because I've done everything wrong today, from the reading the name wrong to not having it Googled already to drinking coffee beforehand, which I'm sure is a palate destroyer, but I needed it.
Could be.
And it's not working yet. But this beer's got a little bitter taste.
Mm-hmm.
It's smooth up front with a little bit bitterness on the back. I'm not getting a lot of flavor out of it, but once again, that might be the coffee I drank leading into this. Maybe the flavor will come throughout the episode as I wash it away from my tongue muscle.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds gross. Probably shouldn't say that.
Today's topic.
Let's move on. Can we move on? Yes.
Yes. Today's topic is a topic that we have not explored really that I can remember. Maybe we have touched on it a little bit, but I don't think we've looked at it in some of the depths that we're going to today. Hopefully, the world of exorcisms. I think one reason why I have strayed away from this topic is because exorcisms kind of terrify me. As a person who's not religious, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in heaven. I don't believe in hell. But the idea of some sort of evil, demonic energy, spirit, whatever you want to say, taking over my body and possessing me to the point where I am calling somebody to, get it out of me is it's terrifying,
Yeah, how do you know that you're not already possessed? Is that what scares you?
Maybe that's what it is.
You're already doing yourself a disservice with your own stressful thoughts and it's never enough for you to just relax. That could be some entity inside you that's trying to rip you apart physically with the mental manifestation of not being who you think you should be.
Mm-hmm.
An intrusive thought that could be considered malicious, which then could be considered demonic.
Exactly.
And needs to be cast out.
And with exorcisms, it's like, where do you start with it? Where do you even begin to research it? So what did I do?
There's a lot on this, and that's why I said I don't know if I got I didn't get what I wanted when I went down the road that I went down. I do have some stuff, but I was literally had three different. I was on my computer, and then like they would reference something on the computer, and then I'm going to my phone, and I've got three different tabs open on my phone trying to jot down like, okay, this led to this, but this led to this, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot in terms of the history of exorcism and where modern day exorcism comes from, and so that's where I don't know where you want to start this episode
Well,
with the old or the new.
well, we're gonna go with the current world of exorcisms from the websites that I have stumbled across. So I have a Roman Catholic diocese, I think that's how you say it, of Orange, and then I also have a website based in the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Washington that both specifically have information about exorcisms on their website. The one in Washington, you can straight up request to have an exorcism. So I kind of want to talk about the procedures about requesting one, because this is a very like secretive thing in the research that I've done. And granted, I'm not like nose deep and like fucking I have all these books about exorcisms or whatever, but it's very secretive. They do not want you to know who is going to be doing these exorcisms. They don't want any knowledge of in this church. This person, Billy Bob is the exorcist guy. It's a huge secret.
I'd like to see that ad in the yellow pages. Billy Bob, the Exorcist guy,
Right.
he comes to you.
So they also bring up both websites the Rite of Exorcism, RITE, sacramental to the Catholic Church, whereby the church asks publicly and authoritatively in the name of Jesus Christ that a person or object be protected against the power of evil, about the evil one, withdrawn from his dominion or whatever. So I think the website in Washington was a little more specific about the procedures for requesting an exorcism, but there's a lot of consistencies from both sites that I've found. It really doesn't matter if you're Catholic or non-Catholic. You have to reside in the community in which these churches serve. So I can't, in the state of Wisconsin, call somebody in Orange County to come help me out. They will not help you at all. Even if that is like your last hope. Is I've talked to all these people, nothing is happening. Nobody is coming to my aid. I need you to come from California. I'll pay for your flight. I'll take care of everything. They absolutely will not do it.
So it's kind of like therapy that way.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't call a Wisconsin, if they're not board certified.
Right. Yeah. The first step is to request an appointment with your local parish priest. There is a finder that you can find on the websites. I couldn't really find much information about the state of Wisconsin as far as a church that openly talks about this and openly does this. From my knowledge with a person that I've spoken to in the past about this stuff, each state has at least two representatives that are able to conduct exorcism. So in the state of Wisconsin, there must be some weird laws or something in place that you can't actively talk about this, or the Catholic Church in Wisconsin is just like, we're not going to talk about this. This is something we're going to offer in like worst case scenarios. I'm that's speculation. I can't say that for a fact. The person's going to be referred to the local parish priest. So you have to request his appointment. A lot of these you need to get clearance of sorts from some sort of mental health professional. You need to seek them first to say, I am not crazy or something like that. Again, so it says, if you do not reside in this area in Washington, we are unable to assist you and you may not receive a response. Maybe you'll get a response of somebody that can help you, but your odds are they're not even gonna fuck with you. The priest is gonna listen to your history. They're gonna give you advice, and they're of course gonna give you some deliverance prayers. What are those prayers? Fuck if I know. Hail Mary, full of grace, maybe. After praying with that person, the priest will consider it appropriate. If they consider it appropriate, they will then refer to the exorcism team in the church, in the local church. The person will be asked to fill out a request form. There's an official form that you can request. It's part of a screening process. There is then an exorcism team, an entire team dedicated to this that's going to assess the situation and say if they're going to continue forward with what they need to do. Confidentiality is assured throughout, so they're kind of persistent on that too. We're not going to tell anybody that you're going to have a fucking exorcism, and you're not going to fucking know who's doing it. You're not going to talk about it. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of a shuffle in that regard from what I have found. Parents seeking ministry for a son or daughter under the age of 18, same kind of process. You start with making that appointment. You talk to the priest, and all the other guidelines happen. While parents may desire ministry for children over 18, it's really up to the individual to take care of themselves.
So somebody who is possessed by the devil or a demon has to be the one that reaches out for help.
I guess
If they're over 18, they have to be the one that goes to the church and says, "Look, I got this thing. Can you come outside? I can't really I can't cross the threshold here, but
I got this thing." So yeah, so that's all the information in the one in Washington. And straight up on their website, request an exorcism. Now the one in Orange County has exorcism ministry on it as a service that they do. There are laws about this type of stuff, and it says, let's see, on March 16, 2018, the bishop promulgated, I don't know how the hell that word is, as particular law of the Diocesan Deliverance Ministry Protocol, noting that the timing of the decision coincided with some other shit with the booklet Prayers Against the Powers of Darkness. I don't know. The clergy met to receive instruction from experienced exorcists on the implementation of procedures and the printed protocol booklet. There's a booklet. That's nice, huh?
yeah, it's good to have a booklet. Always want to have a step-by-step.
Prayer is always kind of their first thing, but again, once that mental, and this one it specifically says once that mental health professional is able to complete their assessment and deliver it to the deliverance team, the deliverance and exorcism lay coordinator will then call the person to work out the logistics of what's going to go on. There's a lot of planning that goes on with the exorcism. You would think in a situation where people are possessed, right? Like they're like, we don't have like 5 to 6 business days. We got to get going with this shit. Here's one too. The person will receive a 30-day prescription of prayer to help strengthen his or her spiritual life. This is part of the pre-care and the post-care. It's like pre-care for when you're about to give birth. You know you're going to get a cesarean. There's things you can do to loosen that skin.
What do you think the markup is on the prescription there?
I don't know. What is it? What is this?
I think it's like what the pharmacies do, 7,000% markup.
Yeah, I don't know. You can also get like a cleansing done of your home or your business. So you can do that. It's just they specifically have 2 individuals in their ministry that can do it, and nobody knows who they are. Only the church knows who they are, and that's kind of the secret with it. Yeah, it's just kind of wild how much it takes to actually like get into the process of having an exorcism. And do you have anything? I'm kind of hogging the speaking, so if you have anything.
No, you're just talking on stuff like I can kind of jump in here and give some context to some of this stuff a little bit, because I went down the rabbit hole of where exorcism came from more so.
Okay.
On accident. I was looking for the first recorded exorcism. Which you know what, didn't find, unless you want to go with the Bible, if you believe in that.
No.
but I do have, so like think that exorcisms go back as far as what Catholicism potentially, but they go back way further. So I have in Mesopotamia during the first millennia BC, purveyors of magic called the I don't know how to pronounce this, a Sipu. It's it's ASIPU, but the S has a little arrow over it, which must mean something that I don't know. But they staved off and expelled demons that brought illness and chaos. As spiritual healers, they were esteemed protectors who used amulets, performed elaborate rituals, and when needed, engaged helper demons, demon figures in their efforts. This is back before demon was considered only malicious. There was a time when daemons were either good or bad, especially in Greek. Back then, when we're talking about, I don't know, Greek times. Let's call them those. They're not around anymore. Greece doesn't exist. Don't look it up. But so that and so moving forward from there, then you get into the there's different types of exorcists back then. Now we're talking, this is during biblical times and before. So you have magical, which is what these asipu would be. They use magical objects, plants, roots, and the help of a spiritual power to excise demons. Poems, and they would invoke Solomon's name to cast out whatever the ailing person had. Now this would probably be considered pagan, which is what the later religious connotation of exorcism was actually used to kind of propagate against, was paganism, and to cast out paganistic and magical ideas. The second type is the charismatic magician. They would use songs and chants that they would speak over the afflicted, along with a personal force, which is what was heavily influenced the success of these exorcisms. Is there, it didn't really matter. Oh, sorry. In this, for charismatic magicians, what they said actually held some kind of sway over the demon that they were trying to cast out. So their words and their actions really actually mattered, and they had to say specific things, and it was more ritualistic. And then there were the charismatics that came after, which all that matters was the personal force that they used, or their idea of force, not really what they said. So every exorcism could be ad-libbed, but it was probably more, if you look into the idea of chants and hypnotic phraseology, or taking sway over people, it's more rhythmic and tonal than it is in what you say. It's how you say it. And so Jesus Christ of Nazareth, as he was known at one time, he would be considered one of the first charismatics who was invoking the force of God, or the finger of God, to cast out these demons. And it was he would use different phraseology each time. It didn't really come down to a specific rite or ritual. It just came down to the idea that he had God's force on his side. That was what was casting out.
E.T. had a similar finger.
Yeah. I think E.T. was probably
God.
Yeah, well, he was a charismatic exorcist.
Hold on a second,
for sure.
I'm trying some connections between Jesus and E.T. because motherfucker, bringing back life into whatever, but he dies. He turns all into the white dog shit, the white dog turd, but then he spruces back up, and then goes off into the sky afterwards. Phones home.
Yeah. And JC, he goes by two letters name too.
You're right. Exactly. So
and I'm pretty sure Jesus's Reese's Pieces was just fish and bread, right?
Yeah. Water. They just had to make a modern take on it, so the people were like, "Oh, this is what it is." So I have the signs of demonic invasion. Okay, this depends on the type of demon and the purpose of controlling you. So I want to go through these, and I want you to tell me how many of these you have experienced personally. So these are some of the reasons why maybe you would reach out to get a exorcism. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Using languages unknown to the person or people around them. Now
Is that like saying things that you don't even understand?
I don't know, just as languages. Maybe just like start spitting some Spanish.
Okay. Well,
Well, it's like, I wanted to surprise everybody at the party. I've been working really hard on my Duolingo, so I walk in and I spit the Spanish, and all of a sudden, holy water dumped on my body.
yeah, you should be announcing that you're using Duolingo these days.
You got to
just
talk
to be
about it.
safe so your friends don't intervene. But it's good to know that you have to, if you're over 18, you have to be the one that intervenes on yourself. So,
Having extraordinary strength or resistance to physical restraint. Been lifting weights, dude.
yeah, I mean, I gotta say, I've pushed my limits and I've found strength I didn't know I had.
Yeah, aren't they always
And I
saying
was,
that?
I was evoking Azul in the process. Is that?
Azul? Is that
Yeah.
the keymaster of Gozer?
Oh yeah, it is, I guess.
Or Zool?
Maybe.
There is no
Is it Zool?
Dana. There's only Zool.
Thank you for pointing out my lack of Ghostbusters knowledge.
Knowledge of events or people that the person could not have possibly known. So I say, Robert, I know you wiped from back to front.
That is scary.
So that's another symptom.
I don't think I've had that one either. These are pretty these are pretty hard to just like if they're happening, yeah.
Right. An aversion to holy objects or places such as holy water or churches. I'm glad it's specified.
I have that. Absolutely, I have that.
So,
Not even joking. I've gone the last 3 times I've gone to church. I'm drenched in sweat by the time I leave. I get so much panic and anxiety sitting in a church pew.
you might be possessed. Self-harm and displaying violent or aggressive behavior. Okay.
Is that like pulling off toenails in the middle of the night? Because I do that.
Do you really?
Yeah, like entire toenails, and then they're bloody, and I gotta wash my
What?
sheets. It's like a weird twitch thing. I don't know
Twitch?
why I do it. It's not a twitch. It's like what would it be?
A
It's
tick?
like a tick. It's like an it's an unconscious thing that I do, and it hurts, but I have
The
to
fuck?
I have to I have to finish it, and then afterwards I go, that was dumb. Now my foot's gonna hurt for 3 to 4 days, and then yeah. Does that count?
I might. Because
Okay.
that's unusual. That's yeah.
I don't tell a lot of people,
Now you just did. All 6 listeners
yeah,
now are gonna worry about your fucking toenails.
Are we up to 6 now?
Right, we're going up. Okay. I'm just thinking of you. Ugh, gross. Ailments or conditions that cannot be diagnosed or treated medically. I mean, isn't that most sickness? COVID couldn't.
Yeah, right. Yeah, these days that's pretty
All right.
pretty common. That's what we should have researched is people requesting exorcisms during COVID.
Well, there's been an
you know.
uptick in the request for exorcisms as of late. So it could be. Who knows?
I did hear that as soon as The Exorcist came out in the 70s,
really?
the church was flooded with exorcism requests.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how often just spinning heads and projectile vomiting and green faces just pop up in your day to day.
I think it was just a lot of people that didn't like pea soup. Like they were spitting it out. And they were like, I need an exorcism.
Having hallucinations or hearing voices is okay. Yep.
I've had that one. But I attribute that to I think we've talked about this.
Yeah. Your old apartment.
In my old apartment, yep. And it's like I don't know. I've done a lot of drugs too, so I attribute a lot of that kind of stuff to that. But
An abrupt change in behavior or personality. That also could be drugs.
That could be, yeah. Just
Um,
picking up and moving across the country over, and
you stated your intentions long before you moved.
that's true. That's
So
true.
you're in the clear there. Sudden spiritual dryness. I mean, you had a dry spell, right? You've had dry spells in your life. It's me too.
Oh yeah.
Who hasn't, right?
Yep.
Wait, what
Right.
are we talking about? Oh, the spiritual variety.
Oh, the spiritual. Yeah, yeah.
Man, someone could say it's a spiritual experience, at least for me.
I mean, yeah. I'll get. Who knows? It's
I've
hard to
heard
remember
a
these things.
person afterwards say, "Oh my God," and I don't know if it's from joy or disappointment, but
See, I seem to recall them saying that up front, and it didn't sound like it was a good thing.
I always hear it the next
Are they
morning when they
supposed to
get the
put their
good look at
fingers
me.
over their eyes like this? And go, oh my god.
Oh my God. I think so. Yeah, that's normal.
Yeah, that sounds normal, right?
Expelling of objects or animals through the mouth. Now that is a unique one.
If that's happening, get to your local.
They're going through all this.
Your diocese.
You know, Pastor John.
Objects or animals.
The only symptom I've got is spiders just keep expelling out of my mouth. Like what's going on there?
I'm picturing like a squirrel just like pulling it.
like the cloud that just keeps pulling the
It's just a
handkerchiefs out of their
squirrel,
mouth.
and it's grabbing onto a snake, and that's grabbing onto.
Yeah.
If you walk in and they're like, well, there's a whole list of symptoms. I just got this one.
Yeah. Oh, they're like, it's
I
like,
think, yeah.
they're like,
Open a pet shop.
they ask you all these questions, right? You pass the questions, and then they do some prayers, and you're like, yeah, man, like, and they're like, well, Drew, I don't think anything's wrong. Hold on, watch this. Like that's when they're like, okay, oh God, we gotta get you taken care
Bury
of
the lead.
ASAP.
Yeah, jeez.
So that is if you have that object. What kind of object? Marbles?
Do you think Richard Gere? Oh wait, that was sorry.
Richard Gere.
Sorry,
What? What?
There was don't you remember the rumor about the gerbil?
With Richard Gere?
Yeah, Richard Gere.
No. What?
Used to have gerbils inside of him.
Really?
Dumb joke. Yeah. All right. The rumor is that he used to put gerbils up his butt,
Isn't
and
he?
I was making the joke that if maybe he had gerbils coming up his
Maybe. Is he dead?
maybe he was just possessed. No, he's not. So this is libel. He's gonna slander. He's gonna sue dudes with Brew.
Didn't he have throat cancer or something? Is that Richard Gere?
no.
Didn't he say he got throat cancer because he ate too much box?
I thought it had to do with gerbils boxes. Wait, what?
Women's.
Is that what he said? Please tell me that.
I'm pretty sure it was him. He attributed his throat cancer to all the cunnilingus. I don't even say it right, let alone perform it.
Cunnilingus.
Right? That's how you say it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not finding anything on this. Are you sure this isn't Michael Douglas?
Oh, that's who it was. Michael Douglas.
Okay, here.
Ah, damn it. I thought it was Richard Gere. Well,
No, he said that. He said performing. Okay. Michael Douglas has apologized for embarrassing his wife, Catherine Zeta-Jones, for saying that performing oral sex on women might cure his tongue cancer.
might cure it?
Might cure it.
Oh, I thought it said he caused it.
No, then it said it's a sexually transmitted disease that causes cancer. I don't know what all that means. This is just a blurb. I didn't click on the article. Let's get off.
We could do a whole Strange Brew episode on that. But anyways, the process.
If famous people are just people, then they say things and do things.
They sure
Richard
do.
Gere maybe put a gerbil up his butt. Maybe he pulled it out of his mouth and need an exorcism. Who knows?
The process of an exorcism, it all begins with may or may not be restrained. So they don't do any more self-harm if that's one of their symptoms, or they don't harm anybody that is present in the room. A lot of this is prayer. Prayers and commands for demons to just stop being, hey man, you've overstayed your welcome.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about giving some context to that stuff, because it is like when you go back to even predating the Catholic idea of exorcism and the rite of exorcism, which is, I think the rite of exorcism came in the split of the church during the
1999.
no, but the rite of the actual like
Oh, the
rite
right
of
of
it, I found that as far back as
1600s.
the late 1500s when Martin Luther kind of split the church, and then there was the Protestant Reformation, and like because he spearheaded the movement of exorcism in a specific way. I think infant exorcism, which would become baptism, or like is loosely
Yeah,
associated with
baptisms
baptism.
baptisms are a form of an exorcism. Yeah, yes, absolutely.
So like yeah, and I'm going based off of reading what I read and trying to remember and put it all in context. I'll tell you what, man, reading religious type stuff,
Hmm.
that I can read that stuff like over and over again and like just go like I the words I'm reading the words,
But
but they
yeah,
are not they're not connecting to the brain, and it takes me a really long time to like put everything together. But
right. Some of the or the more
much like Harland and Highland Park.
the more popular prayers they're doing the Lord's Prayer, Hail Mary, and the Athanasian Creed. I don't know what that is. Um, the exorcist will use cross, holy water, procedures listed in the Roman ritual of the exorcism, revised by the Vatican in 1999. If you have an experienced exorcist, they're going to use the ritual uh, Romanum as the starting point. So, not always following the prescribed formula exactly. So,
I did find something on this. Now you're putting some words that I read that I just didn't I like breezed over into context. Thank you.
there is so really it's just like it takes a long time. um it's not always going to be successful in the first thing, but when the exorcism's been finished, the person possessed feels kind of a release of guilt or feels reborn and freed of sin. um yeah, so essentially, hold
I,
on a second, go ahead.
I don't mean to go back to what I said earlier in this episode because I was joking then, but now I'm really realizing it's kind of like therapy.
Yeah,
This whole thing takes
yeah.
some time. Maybe the first exorcist isn't the right one. You got to go through a few of them. They
Hmm.
tell you can be better, and you got to say the same thing. And then over time you heal.
Right. So they do this rite of exorcism. If the exorcist stops the rite, then the demon will pursue him, which is why the process being finished is very essential. They have to finish it. So yeah,
That sounds like something else. Yeah.
that's what it says. But there is a course that the Vatican offers, which now in 2019 was opened to members of other Christian denominations for the first time. It's called Exorcism and Prayer of Liberation. It's offered in the Institute at the Regina Apostolorium. I don't know how you say that word. Some fucking place. But yeah, so it's confrontation and not simply a prayer. And once it's begun, it has to finish, no matter how long it takes. So it could take days, it could take weeks, or even months, and sometimes years of constant prayer and exorcisms for it to be successful. There's a lot of examples out there, dating from a ton. There's still like a 92-year-old exorcist doing this stuff. So it's an interesting topic. Of course, we only know it.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Go. Sorry.
I was gonna say
You're gonna bring up the movies and all that.
yeah, we only really know what it is because of the movies. And the movies are terrifying.
Well, this is yeah. There's a lot of people I know like me. I kind of shrug that movie off. I don't like the walking upside backwards on her. Upside
Yeah.
down. Like if I ever see that's like The Ring for me. Like the walk of
Yeah.
the girl. That's enough for me to like be like, oh my God, I'm scared of that. I don't want to see anybody in that position coming towards me.
Right.
Everything else doesn't. But I know a lot of people that go like, "Oh, not scared by movies unless it has to do with possession
Hmm.
or that kind of stuff." Um, but I know like one of the because we've only scratched the very minimal surface of the history of this. We've only scratched the minimal surface of what it takes to get it done today. Where like what procedures are. I mean, we touched on 2 states. There's 50. There's over 250 countries in the world.
Right.
They all have their own stuff, I'm sure. Um, so there's a lot to this, but like we could do a whole episode on exorcisms gone wrong. I mean, I found a little bit about that. Many deaths have happened during exorcisms. A lot of them due to dehydration. There was a time where they were trying to beat demons out of people. Like especially when like the further back in time you go, when the church didn't really give two shits about the person. They gave all their shits came from trying to rid the world of evil. So it's like if you got to kill the person to make that happen,
Right.
uh, it's kind of like when you get into. I know we talked about fairies or whatever, and like with Irish culture and changelings. Like there's a point in which they would just go like, all right, you gotta the person who thought that there was a changeling, like, oh, you gotta like try all these things, then you just have to kill it, like, and they would end up doing some harm to their own children and things like that. So, um, this is something that the more if we wanted to keep going on this, like, there's endless information on this, and
Well, I want to bring a modern, somewhat of a modern, 3 years old story. So Wisconsin, again, like I said, I could not find anything about exorcisms in Wisconsin. There is plenty of the diocese in the state. Madison is one of them. And there was a priest in 2021 who live streamed exorcisms aimed at rooting out what he and our former president and his supporters have claimed was a widespread voting fraud in presidential election. He left the church in Wisconsin. Now I'm not going to talk about the politics behind it. But to me, it says like that means like, okay, he was one of them, right? He was one of the people that had this training, that had this things. So,
but somebody who's trying to rid the system of voter fraud, do you trust their credentials when they say I can do
no,
this?
no. But he claimed he had permission.
But this is somebody that was with the church.
Mm-hmm. Yes. He didn't have permission. He said he had permission, but the church says no, he didn't have permission to conduct exorcisms related to partisan political activity, but rather approved an exorcism for the alleviation from the scourge of the coronavirus pandemic. So,
So what do you know what that means exactly? Like, okay, so
no.
when you say I'm going to exercise voter fraud, what do you are you just praying and chanting
I don't
and
know.
whatever over
Some
our
sort of
legal system?
it was some sort of evil thing. I don't really know.
Because it does. I mean, the definition
They
of
find a Democrat.
exorcism is casting out malicious forces, which is the evil whatever. So I mean, yeah, technically, I guess you could do an exorcism over an entire system. In which case, I would say we should exorcise this earth of the human plague. But let's not get into that whole thing. But because we have people that are willing to go like, you know what you said, let's not get political. Can we cut all that?
No.
Can we just cut it out?
No, it's too late.
Okay.
So this person was described as kind of a freelancer, not a direct employee of the
He's
church.
freelancer exorcist.
A freelance exorcist.
Only takes cash.
Puts his service on Fiverr.com. Exorcism starting at $5.
He's on TaskRabbit.
But to me, like the more interesting aspect of it was, okay, I can't find any listings of churches, and maybe if I did more research, I could find some in the state of Wisconsin, right? But it is happening, and this person was given permission to the right of exorcism to do it. So this is a practice that is still in place. That there's so much unknown to it, really, like.
I don't think you're gonna find anything in especially not like in the area. Even though the area that we grew up in and that you live in is old. It's like the town that we were from. It predates the state.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe like Holy Hill, if you walked up there backwards on upside down, if you did the
Yeah, maybe.
Christie whatever walk all the way up the hill, and then you like spewed out some pea soup on their doorstep, like they might be like, all right, this one's for real. That's a heck of a feat.
Yeah.
If they're
I mean, it's
but
just
those old churches, like you maybe that's where you start, in my opinion.
But I would really like to talk to somebody who has have some sort of knowledge, like actual knowledge. We're just talking about shit that we've read on the internet. We've probably mixed some facts up. I'm not saying any of this is 100% accurate, but there is some accuracy with what we're saying. I would like to talk to somebody about that has knowledge on this or maybe experience on it. But the problem is, and just like in the process of requesting an exorcism, are they going to take us seriously if we're doing it? Like, I think it'd be pretty wild to talk to somebody about it.
Well, that's why I said and I'll bring it up now. I can't, but this is no guarantee. I mean, we've been talking about bringing Carl on for a month and a half, and that's hard to do. But I'm literally an hour and a half away from this church.
Mm-hmm.
That you're speaking of, the Diocese of Orange or whatever, and it's not that hard for me to jump on a train and go down there and just I might request a meeting. Now the question is, do I request a meeting do I tell them about my hallucinations and voice hearing and the toenails and the symptoms that I have, and try and go in undercover, or do I go in up front and just say, hey, me and my buddy do a podcast, this is interesting, but the reading what we're reading on it is not firsthand knowledge.
Right.
And we would like to, we don't have to say your name. I guess we already it's out there that this is the church, but we won't say who you are or anything like that. You're affiliated with the Diocese of Orange, I guess, but would you sit down and do an interview with us? I would absolutely give them a call and find out.
Yeah. Just say we're trying to learn more. We're trying to find our spiritual awakening. Just say that or something, even though it's a lie. But
what if they listen to this episode,
Yeah, that's true. They'll hear our jokes, our witty humor that we just can't hold back.
Yeah, worst case scenario, we get a few more listens.
or they say, you know what, these fuckers are possessed.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Only a demonic, soulless individual would spew words like this and find humor in these situations. We didn't even really talk about any real cases except for the one person who was just like, hey, voter fraud.
Yeah, and that's not even a person.
Yeah, I wonder what he's up to now. I don't know.
He's out there.
Shit was on YouTube. They took it down, but it was on there.
I mean, I do remember there was a guy that was getting pretty big doing exorcisms, and they did like a documentary on him. But once again, I don't know if I believe all that stuff. Like
Joel Osteen, how do you think he feels about it?
Who's Joel Osteen?
Are you kidding? You don't know who that is? He's like he's like Righteous Gemstone, mega church leader, owner, affiliate, billionaire. Not billionaire, but multi-millionaire.
Oh, I'm sure he's a billionaire.
He's got a shit ton of money. And he's got he sold these cubes. They're like prayer cubes or something. Like you hit it and it's got little Joel Osteen. Am I saying, is it Joel Osteen? Yeah, Joel Osteen.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
He's got these quips.
These are the things that I don't look into because they make my blood boil. The fact that somebody who's supposed to be, like the Righteous Gemstones, we're in the name of God, in the name of it's like Jesus was fucking poor, dude.
Right.
And he helped people to help people, not to but put your it's just. I've also been rewatching True Detective, and when you get to that faith, where they do go to the tent revival.
Yeah.
And it's just.
So he's he's an author as well. Of course, he's got all these fucking brainwashing books. He just looks like a pile of shit.
Well, that's
he
the other thing that would be an interesting episode to go down, which is very similar, in my opinion, to what I'm reading, what I read about the early exorcisms is faith healing. It's just like the only word you have to change is demon to illness. You know, it's like using words and the power your powerful force to excise illness as opposed to a demon.
Mhm.
Um, which is but absolutely can work on people. It's a pseudo like um what's the lost it. Doesn't matter. It's a fake cure that if you believe in it, psychosomatic,
Placebo.
it's placebo. Yes. That's the word I was looking for. Psychosomatic works as well, I believe, because if the person thinks that they're being healed, then they heal
Right.
themselves. But that's like that's that comes down to the type of people that are brought in by that. It's like being, are you possibly able to be brainwashed because you allow somebody power over your own brain, as opposed to just going like, if somebody has power over my brain, which then can be used to have power over my body, then I have power over my own brain and I can take control of what's happening in my body. That's like your Wim Hof effects.
Yeah.
Like that dude can do so much with the power of his mind. If you awaken that thought process, it gets into the weird realm of like what is possible through the idea of belief. And then you can kind of unpack what religion is to some people and why they follow it. I can't, to me, I don't like that. I don't like it. I don't like the idea of being told these are the guidelines that you live by, whilst somebody like what was his name? Jory Applestein?
Just like that. No, Joel
Yeah,
Olstein.
yeah, that guy. He lives outside of those realms and gets rich from it, while he tells you that you have to live within it. You know,
Yeah. Well,
those
he's
things
like
I don't like, but
yeah, televangelist. He's got these mega churches. He does all these speeches, and like I
yeah, he's like
forget what's
Peter
going.
Pumpernickel or whatever his name
There was
was.
something. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there was a situation where a lot of people were displaced. I don't remember what it was. It might have been, I don't know. And he's got a huge mansion. It is huge, dude. It's like $220 million, and he would not bring anybody in. He's like, no. It's like, okay, dude, thank you. You're great.
Because he's a big fan of Slayer, and he doesn't want people to know
Yeah,
that we really kind of destroy his reputation.
he's got a Kiss album on his wall.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, he really likes Led Zeppelin, and we all know what he says when you play Stairway backwards.
yeah, he's got his record player set to reverse too. That's the thing, like that he doesn't want anybody to see.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Oh, well, I mean, like
He
I
could
said,
say it was for research, but we all know it's for pleasure.
right, exactly. But in a nutshell, that is kind of what exorcism is. It's not, and it sounds like in most of these cases, at least the ones I've looked at, they're not like too intense. But there are some cases in which it lasted like 14 days. You know, the one that inspired the book and then the movie, The Exorcist. I think that was like a 14-day thing. So I mean, there's recorded accounts. I don't know, man. Like it's
It's a real thing that people, if people believe it, it becomes a real thing.
Yeah.
I don't even disprove, or I don't even not think that. Geez, I don't even not think. I don't think that the priests involved don't believe it. I think they absolutely believe it. I think they're like
mm-hmm.
they're like they're like, you know, they're like you in the education system. You believe that you can make a better generation moving forward, but the guys at the top are like laughing all the way to the bank somehow. I don't know how.
Yeah. Well, there's a
But you know, I do believe that the power of belief in what is being done in these rituals, but that's what it is. You go back to pagan times, they were doing the same rituals with different words and different artifacts
actions.
and different this.
Yeah.
And that's what, when you get into the idea of magic with a K versus religion versus even something as simple as a what are those called? Those future dream board things where you put
Ouija
all your dreams.
boards. What?
No, the thing where you put all your dreams on a board and then
A vision board?
A vision board, yeah.
Yeah.
And we might as well end it there because I'm getting called into work.
Are you really?
I took the on-call phone.
Oh.
Let me just take this real quick. You can pause it if you want, or you can listen in. I don't have to go into work.
Crisis averted.
Crisis averted, yes.
It was just a demon on the other end. He knew what we were talking about, and they're like, we got to stop this madness. We got to stop these fools from exposing the truth. What else? What more sinister move could we make than calling the on-call cell phone during the off time? Fucking Satan's at it again, dude.
Yeah, I am convinced that security might be demons and that building might be hell.
You're in some sort of...
And maybe I need a new job. I don't know.
You're in purgatory, bro. All right, well, that's it, man. That's exorcism to a point. Maybe, excuse me, maybe a topic that we'll revisit if we can align some sort of person with knowledge, or something like that. You know, do something.
Yeah, if I can figure out a way to get an interview, that'd be a good one.
I've already reached out to somebody about resources as well, so we'll see what happens. But I'm
guessing yours garners better
results.
You're better, yeah, because you're better at not, like, you can probably hide your skepticism better than I can. But I'm gonna try my darndest to go. This is gonna be a real interview. We are real professionals. Don't listen to our episodes until after.
I drank the spooky beer that is Gary, the rum barrel-aged Imperial Stout. I'm glad I have this rubber stopper because there is no way I'm going to finish the rest of this bottle tonight because, well, daylight savings time is here and my sleep schedule is already going to be fucked. I still have a good quarter of this beer. This is a sipping beer. I've been more drawn to these beers lately, Rob. I've been drawn to the barrel-aged beers. It's sipping, and it's nice because you sip longer than what I would like. When I'm drinking IPAs, I can drink them pretty quickly. They go down smooth. They go down good. But then you have more of them, and then you're more likely to consume too many and then feel like absolute garbage the next day. These beers I like, one, because they're absolutely delicious. You don't have to worry about chilling them. They don't have to be super cold. This was a smooth beer. It's a good sipping beer. It's a good beer to have a long conversation with or even watch a movie with. And you're not going to consume so much that you have to go piss midway through the movie, which is glamorous in its own regard. But it's got enough booze in it. It's got enough something to make you feel a little extra loose. But it's also not going to make you feel like trash. It can carry its own for a long duration of time, and you don't have to worry about the repercussions of drinking too much. I think that's a beautiful thing. And this beer is delicious. It's got the right hit of rum. It's got the right blend of the stout. It's smooth, and it's from Wisconsin, and therefore, it's fucking good. That's nice. That's pretty solid, huh?
Yeah. All right.
I really felt like I felt like I was like on it today.
But you shouldn't have brought attention to it.
You're right. Fuck.
Mine was okay. It was good.
That's like
No, just you can, yeah, no, I was listening to you go and I was like, I'm just gonna say mine was fine.
Yeah,
I'm just to really offset what he just did because I can't do that. That's a great critique.
Thank you.
Speaking of things from Wisconsin that are just good, been seeing this commercial out here a lot lately.
The commercial,
and it says it's talking about how they do things in Wisconsin and how they take pride and it's good for good people from Wisconsin. So come on down and enjoy some Culvers.
Is it really? You got Culvers down there now?
Yeah. I don't think that there's one anywhere near me. It's just putting it in my face that I can't go to Culvers. I think I gotta go to Arizona if I want to go to Culvers.
Really? Culvers.
There might be one down in like San Diego, maybe, or up in the north. I don't know.
Yeah. Culvers is awesome, dude. I mean, you got In-N-Out though, don't you?
It's not nowhere near the same.
I've never had it.
In-N-Out is like a hockey puck, man. It's Culver's is like a smooth, buttery treat it's the treat of dinner without the treat. It is the dinner. It's perfectly Culver's so good.
Yeah, man.
It's I can't even. I'm tripping over my words just thinking about it.
So good. It is good.
And
we're
yeah,
blessed.
Now
We're blessed to have
so
it.
anyway, go to Culver's, drink the Harland. It's good.
All right. Like and subscribe, as they say. At Dudes on a Porch on X or Twitter. We're not really active on that too often anymore. For whatever reason, I can't get the episodes to post on there. Dudes with the Brews on a Porch on Facebook. We're on Mastodon again. I couldn't tell you the last time I looked at that site. We're not good at the social media game. Instagram. We're pretty active on the Instagram. I think it's a Dudes with Brews pod on Instagram. Hit us up on that if you want to send us an inquiry or anything like that. You can email us at dudesonaporch@gmail.com. That's it.
Do we want to do our weekly segment of reading what people have sent in? And it's good. All right.
Somebody did send something today.
Oh, we got something?
Um,
oh, nice. All right, was it good or bad? This is like I got to know these things.
It's an interview request. They want us to.
Okay.
They want us to interview him, and he used to work for Howard Stern, so I think we could probably talk to him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll talk about it in a second. All right, toodles.